Hi, and happy Earth Day from the Blue Ridge Wildflower Society. My name is Lindsay Kaplan, and I'm currently serving as the Community Outreach and Advocacy Chair for our chapter. We're a subset of the nonprofit Virginia Native Plant Society and are focused on preserving the native plants and habitats of our region. Native plants are important for so many different reasons. A native plant is one that occurs naturally within a specific area, and because of that, they are perfectly adapted to suit the local climate and growing conditions. They provide critical habitat for wildlife, act as a carbon sink, require less water to grow, and can grow successfully without fertilizers or pesticides. They're also much easier to grow and maintain than non-native plants. And on top of that, they're beautiful year-round and really add excitement and variety to our landscape. As an organization, the Blue Ridge Wildflower Society facilitates many fun and educational trips, meetings, and events throughout the year. We have wonderful speakers and highly knowledgeable guides eager to help you learn more about plants and the environment around us. Our members come from varied backgrounds and all are welcome. We would love for you to join us on one of our many upcoming field trips, but today we'll take you on a virtual native plant walk through Green Hill Park in Salem, Virginia. This park is known for the beautiful wildflowers that bloom along its trails every spring, and we're excited to share them with you. The trails at Green Hill Park can be accessed at the very back of the park near the pavilion and sports fields. There are many different trails, each with their own plants to be discovered. Today, we'll start on the Pawpaw Trail. Along the way, we'll hear from some native plant enthusiasts and fellow Blue Ridge Wildflower Society members as well. One of the main stars at Green Hill Park is the huge colony of large-flowered trillium that grows on both sides of the Pawpaw Trail. Large-flowered trillium is arguably the most well-known trillium, as it is frequently cultivated due to its beauty. Seeing so many in bloom is really a magical sight. This small pink flower is easy to miss, but make sure to keep an eye out for it, as it's a real treat. This is the Virginia Spring Beauty, another early blooming ephemeral. Its leaves are so thin that when they first pop up in early spring, it's easy to mistake it for a blade of grass. We're also lucky enough to have another species, the Carolina Spring Beauty, within this area. However, that one has much thicker leaves, so they're pretty easy to distinguish.
I'm Ellen Holtner, and
I'm Rebecca Ross.
We've been wildflower fans for a long time. We started walking with wildflowers in the 70s. I'm the past president, and now I'm in charge of walks and talks. I love wildflowers because they're a part of such an elaborate, fabulous system of nature. Beautiful ecosystems. I love pollinators, and in fact I garden for pollinators at home. So I like the flowers and their relationships to ecology.
We just got very enthusiastic about all these beautiful things in nature that we had not seen before, but we've been fascinated ever since.
And taught students.
Yeah, we've taken lots of students on walks, and once we sort of learned about them, we started taking students on walks and people on walks with the Wildflower Society. And then the Wildflower Society kept evolving and became part of the Virginia Native Plant Society. But I love wildflowers, and it's part of the Appalachian ecosystem, and it's very unique, not found anywhere else in the world.
I think twin leaf is my favorite. It's so fleeting, it's truly ephemeral, the bloom is, and only lasts for about a day.
My favorite wildflowers are probably the lady slippers, the pink lady slipper and the yellow lady slipper. And they're very unique. They have to have a special fungus in the soil in order to grow and exist. And if you pull them up and try to dig, you can't get enough soil with them to really transplant them very well. So they need to be left alone wherever they're growing in nature.
One shrub you're likely to find at Green Hill Park and surrounding areas is the spicebush. This plant acts as the host plant for the caterpillar of the spicebush swallowtail butterfly, and the leaves have a delightfully spicy and fragrant smell. One of the most beautiful things about our native forests is the sheer variety that exists in them. In this spot alone, we can see multiple species, including our large flowered trillium, our bloodroot, some violets, a toothwort down here, and even our May apples. In front of us here, amidst the large flowered trilliums, is a plant called twinleaf, or sometimes known as Jeffersonia. It's not easy to catch it in bloom, as it blooms quickly and for a short period of time, and the flowers will fall off at the slightest bit of wind or rain. When you can catch the flowers, it looks very similar to our native bloodroot. While this park holds a lot of beauty and biodiversity, it also has its fair share of problem plants. This is a non-native invasive species called garlic mustard, originally from Europe and Asia, that is becoming increasingly prominent throughout our landscape. Garlic mustard spreads easily, seeds prolifically, and is incredibly difficult to remove. Invasives like this plant will outcompete our beautiful native plants if not properly controlled. On the plus side, garlic mustard is edible, and eating is encouraged due to its invasive nature. It makes a delicious pesto.
I'm Mike. This is Janet Klein. I really got into wildflowers more because my wife is such a nature lover, and it just rubbed off on me.
I've always liked walking in the woods, nature walks, hikes. I love looking at all the different flora, fauna, rocks. My favorite thing, feel so at peace out in nature.
This yellow flowered plant is abundant here and is known as the large flowered bellwort. It's perfoliate, which means that its leaves wrap entirely around its stem. This is also the case for its cousin, the perfoliate bellwort, but they can be differentiated due to their flowers. This yellow flowered bellwort is deeply colored and has twisted petals, while the flowers of perfoliate bellwort are more bell-shaped and often lighter in color. This whimsical wildflower is known as the rue anemone, and it's a favorite among many botanists.
Hey, my name is James. I'm a member of the Blue Ridge Wildflower Society, and I like native plants because they create a diverse environment of both flora and fauna, and a diverse environment is generally a healthy environment. And with this diverse environment, there's a vast array of plants and animals that you can see on a daily basis on a walk through really any trail that has many native species on it. And I also like native plants because they're easy to grow, easy to plant at my house. They're adapted to the climate around us, and it creates less lawn for me to mow. That's a big one because that's money and time that I can save while also creating a healthier environment around us.
This distinctive and deeply lobed leaf belongs to one of our earliest spring ephemerals and one of my personal favorites, the bloodroot. As an ephemeral, its flower doesn't last long, and you can actually see that its seed pod has already started to develop in the middle there. It gets its name from a reddish-orange sap, and when in bloom, features a single white flower. It's definitely one to keep an eye out for. It's easy to focus on plants on the ground, but don't forget to look up. You might catch the purplish-brown blooms of the native pawpaw tree, which produces an edible fruit in the fall. While this rich forest supports a wide variety of native species, it is also being invaded by invasive species like we see here. Situated next to our native twinleaf is the highly invasive Japanese honeysuckle. This climbing vine was first imported as an ornamental, but has since escaped and is now outcompeting our native plants for habitat. If not removed, this plant can grow rapidly and may soon take over this entire area. These umbrella-shaped leaves belong to the May apple, another common wildflower species. This plant is already beginning to form white flowers underneath its leaf canopy, which will then turn to its fruit, otherwise known as its apple, later on in the season. May apples form dense mats in the forest and act as a great ground cover for wildlife. This plant is also important for humans, as compounds from May apples have been used in development of cancer treatments.
My name is Ann Martin, and I live in Roanoke City, and I'm a brand new member of the Wildflower Society here in Roanoke. So the most exciting thing for me me on this walk, if we're on the Pawpaw Trail in Roanoke County, is the pawpaw tree. And it has a little tiny blossom. It's cranberry colored. And it looks down at you. And it's just that I never saw a pawpaw tree before last year. And I was so excited to see it. And everything, the white trillium, the mayapple, the buckeyes, all kinds of things here together. So the reason I love to come to see the wildflowers is because this is Mother Nature's plan, and everything is working together, and things I see as medicines in the pharmacy are actually sitting here, like cohosh, for example.
For this next plant, we'll have to get a little bit closer to the ground. That's because wild ginger, with its hairy, heart-shaped leaves, has a little secret. It's flowers. This plant evolved to be pollinated by small flies emerging from the ground in the spring, so its flowers are found underneath its leaf canopy, lying close to the forest floor. No trip to Green Hill Park would be complete without heading down to the river to see the colony of Virginia bluebells. These flowers start off pink, but will later change to blue as they mature due to a pH change in the plant. The plants we've shared with you today are just a small selection of the many that Green Hill Park has to offer, and we encourage you to pick up a field guide and spend some time searching on your own. We thank you for joining us today and hope you enjoyed this virtual walk through the woods. As we celebrate Earth Day, it only makes sense that we also celebrate native plants and landscapes. Removing non-native and invasive plants and replacing them with their native cousins is a great way to help restore the earth. We hope to act as a resource for you and encourage you to join us soon. In the meantime, stay safe and have a happy Earth Day.